Hi, and welcome to Family Law Friday, presented by Florida Women's Law Group. My name is Betsy Corbett, and I'm in the marketing department. Family Law Friday is designed to be a resource for all women with a family law issue. Today, we will be discussing successful ways to manage being a single mom after your divorce. Before we get started, I wanted to give you some information about our host, Heather Quick. Heather's the founder and owner of Florida Women's Law Group that advocates for women in North Florida. The firm educates and empowers women on the law so that they can find the strength to endure the process and come out better both financially and emotionally. She's been a licensed Florida attorney for over 20 years, with most of her practice being in family law. Please join me in welcoming Heather Crick to Family Law Friday.
Thank you so much, Betsy, and thank you all for joining us today. And as Betsy indicated, we're going to talk about successfully moving into that role as a single mom after divorce. This is something that is difficult. It's going to be a change, and wanted to talk about some of the issues that we've seen come up with women who have met with us and are struggling through how to do this in the best way for themselves and for their children and for their future. So I wanted to touch on this for you in order to give you some positive things to focus on, because whether you want a divorce or not, it's happened, you're going through it, and things are going to be different, which is a great opportunity for you to recreate yourself, to use this life change as an opportunity to be the best that you can be. Because if you are in an unfulfilling relationship, you weren't your best. None of us are when it is so difficult and we're in a situation that really isn't serving us and not serving our family either. So when we talk about this, I think the number one thing to think about or to understand when you have gone through a divorce is allowing yourself the opportunity to grieve the marriage. Whether it was the worst marriage in the world or what you thought was the best, it's time to say goodbye, because that is gone. And living in the past can be so detrimental to you. It is not going to help you look forward, because you're always going to be looking back. And I don't know about you, but I know I can look back and boy, the ugliness of situations kind of disappears. As women, we have childbirth. You know how quickly we forget the pain and what was difficult about it, and just remember the good. You can do that. You can remember the good, grieve the passing of the marriage, and then put the lid on it. If you're ever going to move forward, you have to do this. And there is not a time period on that. It's just a advice on moving forward with your life. In order for us to grow, you've got to look forward, and you've got to plan and be able to move past these difficulties that you've experienced. So I encourage you to maybe read books on, there are the 5 stages of grief. That can be extremely helpful. I talk about it with a lot of our clients when they're going through the divorce. The emotions are very similar that you're going to experience: the anger, the denial, the sadness, and eventually you get to acceptance. If you move through, allow the emotions to come through and let them out. Don't let them rule your life. What I have seen, and this is just personal experience, is that if you can grieve and then put the lid on that and begin to move forward, you will be able to open your heart again. And I'm not saying you're getting married or relationships, but just open your heart for your children, for your family, for your friends. You allow love in from all of those. And I'm really not even talking about romantic love. It's more of you as a person growing in that way. And it will allow you as a single mom to open your heart for your children, because your children are going to remind you of their father a lot. I suspect, because, you know, that happens. And after divorce, when you can open your heart, the things that annoyed you with your husband, if you can let that go, because your children are their own people, however many of our traits that they have, it will allow you to more likely than not deal with that easier. And again, it's a step. It's a thing to give yourself permission and, you know, move through that. Be honest, you know, with your kids that this is sad. I'm moving through it. And that's what it is. You know, if you need a day for a pity party, then do it and then move on. Part of that I am going to only touch on is if you can't move on, if you feel like I don't have the energy, the desire or anything to get out of it, please make sure you're seeing a counselor and a therapist, you know, psychologist, psychiatrist, someone, because you may need more intervention and it may be on a temporary basis. Please understand though, if those are your feelings, seek the proper medical care to assist you to move forward. Because then once you're out of that step, okay, now this is your new life. Okay, you're a single parent. Any stage of where the children are, the reality is your father's going to be in your life forever. And it's really just a matter of how much interaction you have to have in regards to your children. Ideally, that communication is positive and limited. So there's not, you know, you don't really want to have to talk to them every day. Most people do not. But then if you've given yourself the time to grieve the relationship and move through those emotions, now is the time to embrace the co-parenting in a way that, you know, a mature person will do, and that will benefit your children in the best way. Be the better person, rise above if he isn't able to rise above. Move through it and do what's right for your children as far as communicating and, you know, any of the feelings or whatever happened during the marriage, because there are, you know, so many things. I understand. I've heard, I know I haven't heard it all. I've heard a lot, and it's difficult, but it's worth it for your children. Your children know who rises above, who does the right thing, because I'm putting the children first in this instant, in my communication, in the way I speak about their father, and in the actions that I take. So those tips, those first two tips, are probably the biggest steps, because it's different. One, the marriage is over, and now it could have been a situation where you made all the decisions, even though you guys were married, for the children, and you're like, wait a minute, why do I have to ask them about signing up? Well, I've always done this. You know, it's what is required by the law. It's going to be in the parenting plan, and there are a lot of ways to easily do this. There are, of course, some things that you need to call your ex about in regards to children. Otherwise, you know, usually text message or emails will suffice. If the two of you cannot have a conversation without a fight or just it going bad really quickly, I would definitely advise that you are at least in some therapy to deal with that, because you left this person, you're removed from this marriage, but now if you still have to have this toxic interaction, that's not going to help you. And you're probably going to be returning to court at some time. So you're going to need to learn how to deal with this, and or maybe suggest to him that the two of you do some, you know, co-parenting counseling to really agree on some language and some terms on how you're going to co-parent. You don't have to have a lawyer to do that. Obviously, he has to agree and see see it as something to be addressed as well. But that will serve you well also, because you're connected forever through your children. You really only have certain obligations while the children are minors, but your children don't go away. They go to college, they get married, they have kids. They're, whatever you can do now to, one, keep yourself healthy and communicating in a healthy way for your children is really going to benefit you and your kids down the road. So the next thing, now the other ones might be more difficult. This is the most challenging, and I challenge you all to do it. Learn to take time for yourself. And I know, ladies, you're like, what are you talking about now? Like, okay, maybe he didn't do a whole lot, maybe he did more than you thought. I don't know, but there's one less person in the house that maybe was helping with the homework, with the meals, with the cleanup, with the grocery shopping. Now, I don't know, he could have been totally like, hey, I pay the bills, you do everything else, and you might be like, this is a relief. But if that's not the case, you may be struggling to find time for yourself. And when I say time for yourself, I am a huge believer in exercise. It clears your mind and helps you make better decisions, and it's good for your heart, your figure, everything. So I encourage you to exercise, and that can be so many different levels. It can be a walk. I'd like to see you get your heart rate up, but start with a walk. Doesn't have to be running. There are so many things now available online that you feel like you're there. A lot of classes. If you just are like, I don't know if I'm going to go to the gym. I don't know what I can fit in. I know you can fit in that. My mom used to run. And I don't think she started running until, she's definitely like in her 30s or something. And she would get up super early. She was like at 5 a.m. because she had no other time. She had to do that. We were sleeping, and she would go on a run, just like probably 30, 45 minutes, and then come back, be able to get us off to school, because then there was no way she was going to fit it in after that. And, that's what I mean. She was going to school at night too. So we all have the same amount of hours, and some of us, we do better than others in squeezing the most out of it. But I know she forced herself to do that so that she could fit it in. And there are a lot of different ways to do it, but I encourage you to find that time. And when your children are with your husband, do something you want to do, even if it's just watch the movie you want to watch, or take a nice walk on the beach, go for a bike ride, do things so that fill your soul, something that you like to do that is calming and nourishing to yourself. Because if you can begin to look at the time when the children are with their dad as time for you to recharge, it will help if that is difficult in having them go over there. So, some people love to work in the yard. I don't know, some people, love to work out, go have lunch with friends, and, or binge watch a series, which as long as you go exercise before or after, I think that's good too. But, find that time. Let your children know as well, hey, it's important that mom takes care of herself, because then I'm stronger to take care of you. Get them on the bike, have them, bike together, do it together, which it doesn't give you as much of the alone time, but it's something. Now, also with learning to care for yourself, I am not a consistent practicer of this. However, I believe strongly in meditation. And I used to think, it had to be even 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Frankly, if you can do it for 10 minutes a day, it is amazing what it does for you. I find that if you do it at the same time every day, it helps establish the routine. That is a wonderful thing to clear your mind and give yourself even just 10 minutes. And you can do it. Trust me, the dog's going to bark and the kid's going to walk in right when you're just trying to have your few moments, but keep doing it. My kids used to know, don't, mom's meditating. And I made them do it with me before. And a lot of times they giggle. But I would do a guided where, I'd listen to something that was kind of helping me clear my mind and stay focused. But there are so many ways. I've just given you a few that work for me and that I've, used to work for my mom and I've seen work for others. But I just know that the stronger we are, and women are so strong. I mean, for heaven's sakes, you have children. And now you're entering a new phase. It is more important than ever to take care of yourself and really prioritize your health, your health, physical and mental health, everything about that, so that you are stronger for your children. I can't emphasize it enough. And even when I talked about earlier with the grieving, if something doesn't feel right, see the doctors, make sure that you take care of your doctor's appointments and your health and fitness and mental well-being, because that really is the foundation for your family and your children. And so one of the last things that want to talk about too, as a single mom, and I know we talked about it during the divorce, and you had to do your financial affidavit, and there was the budget, and now you're in charge, of the household, and you have the, what the money coming in and going out, and really take hold of that. Many of you did that during the marriage, so it is not difficult. So, you just keep doing that, but then now you need to look at, well, what did I get? The retirement, what did I get with that? Who am I putting that with? Let me make sure that grows, because I, am not working right now. And when I do start working, it'll take me longer to build that up. That is how you also take care of yourself, by thinking about your financial future. And we are, we've got great CPAs to refer you to, as well as advisors that you can begin to work with and discuss, hey, this is my, my future planning and how I want to begin to build that to be where I want to be. And maybe you need help with budgeting. Sometimes in the divorce, we have to divide up a lot of debt, and that's no fun. How are you going to pay that? And how are you going to pay that, but also save and also cover everything? There are so many people who are really gifted in guiding you through that process. You're not alone. There are individuals who can help you with that. And, many times it's worth it. There are, kind of like, that's why the professional athletes, they still have a coach. Just because they're there, they always need a coach. People generally, and I'm a big believer in it, just needing someone to help guide you, keep you on track. And many times that is not, a oppressive thing or something where you're like, oh, I have to go to classes or a meeting all the week. No, it's just helping you with a plan, checking in with you. Are you on track? How can I help you? How can I educate you on, things that we can do to make this easier for you and achieve your goals? And that's really what this is all about. We talked about it during your divorce. It's all about, what are your goals? Where do you want to be? Okay, well, now you're done. We talked about, where are you going to be 3 years from now? What's the path to get there? And are you on track? Because if you're not, you just got to redirect. That's all it is. Sometimes we get off track. All of us do at some point or another. And it's great to know there are certainly so many great professionals and individuals who really can help you move forward with your life and as this new role. We identify so much with being a wife, being a mother, or being a lawyer. I identify very much with that, but I have all of these things. But sometimes your identity gets so wrapped up in a role, and that role changes. You may not be sure, you really might not know how to recreate yourself, or feel like you're lost. That's why some of these tools are helpful, just because now you're still you inside, but how you identify yourself. And you may not be like, hey, I don't want to identify myself as, a divorcee or a single mom. You're just a great, strong woman who is, doing this on her own right now. And that's fine. It's just understanding what some of those struggles will be and how to best equip yourself. Some of these steps, and there's so many more, will just really help you create that new foundation so that as you grow and enjoy your future, you have more capacity for that enjoyment. So I thank you so much for watching, and it's always a pleasure to read your comments and respond and help you through this as best we can. And certainly if this is something where you need those referrals or somebody going through this process who is struggling, reach out to us. We have so many great resources, and we also can help you with any of your divorce and family law needs, and Betsy will tell you how to do that.
Thank you so much, Heather, and thank you to everyone that was able to listen today. We're here for you, whether you have an issue about divorce or family law or anything we can do to help you. Please give us a call at 904-241-0012. Thank you again for joining us. Oh.